Hey everyone, Regal Reviews here. It is Wednesday, which means it's time for my Once Upon a Time recap. So, to recap on tonight's episode, Henry and Hook are in Storybrooke and they're sword fighting, so they're kind of having a nice, I guess you could call it a father-son moment there. Um, Emma's worried about Henry leaving home for the first time, as anybody would be. But Hook I should say Killian gives her some ease by a message in a bottle, basically saying that whoever pirate you want to see, you just whisper in there, and then you'll see him. So that puts Emma at ease. And we see the Enchanted Forest. Again, it's not confirmed exactly what this realm is, so I'm going to call it the Enchanted Forest. And adult Henry's being chased by Lady Tremaine, and he's captured, and he's about to be tortured by Drusilla. Before that, Henry apparently has the message in the bottle, and he uses this. He says, I summon Emma, Regina, and Killian. I'm like, aw, he's summoning his family. And it doesn't appear like it worked at first, but then as soon as Drusilla's gonna torture Henry, they appear. Hook and Regina come, and it was a pretty badass scene. Regina at one point punched Drusilla and said, "That's my son." And one thing that I noticed right off the bat is Emma wasn't there. And I'm wondering, why isn't she there? Because Henry clearly said Emma in that potion, so I'm wondering, why isn't Emma here? They're both excited to see Henry. I mean, apparently it's been a lot of years since they last seen Henry, and Regina is just in awe about the adult that Henry's become, and also feels bad that they lost that many years. Rogers in Hyperion Heights wants to ask Henry about the book because, as we saw last week, he pauses when he sees that picture of Emma. And we see Henry in return wants Rogers to get information about his family because, as we saw, apparently Henry's cursed memories are that his family died in a fire. And last week he couldn't find where the graves were. I mean, he did find them, but there was no graves there, so somebody's lying to him or gave him wrong information. We see Jacinda, apparently is having a hard time affording to go to Lucy's ballet recital. She was supposed to go, and Victoria was supposed to leave her a ticket, but apparently Victoria upped the price on purpose so Jacinda couldn't go, and for Jacinda working at a fast food chicken place, she doesn't make a lot of money. So she's trying to figure out how she can make money to afford to go because it's her daughter. She wants to go see her perform. And Henry offers to help pay when he hears Jacinda needs help, and Jacinda wants to earn the money on her own. She doesn't want anybody to help her. We see that Weaver picked Rogers to be his partner because he thinks that they can be good together. And we see that Victoria wants Weaver and Rogers to get Henry out of Hyperion Heights. And you could tell right off the bat, just by the vibe that Rogers is giving, that he doesn't want Henry to leave. I mean, Rogers doesn't know who Henry is, but it seems like they've already, formed some type of bond. Weaver and Rogers are at Ronnie's, and they're starting to question Ronnie, I guess, and Ronnie is not buying it or anything. One thing that I think they didn't need was Old Hook. Apparently, Old Hook is in this Enchanted Forest realm, and it's just like, why? Old Hook knocks out our Hook, and he apparently knows Lady Tremaine in this realm, and Lady Tremaine gave him Hook his hook, and he wants Tremaine to give him a potion that will make him be the younger Hook, and in return, Tremaine wants Henry out of the Enchanted Forest and back in Storybrooke. So now Old Hook is posing as regular Hook. And I definitely think this was unnecessary because it just makes it confusing to the viewers. I mean, this is supposed to be Emma Swan's last episode, and I've never been an Emma Swan fan, but she has been the central character of the show and one of the main characters. And it just seems like adding this in added more unnecessary confusion. And it just seems like it's taken away from Emma's final episode. But we see apparently Tiana is a really good friend to Jacinda. I don't know their backstory in the Enchanted Forest. I mean, nobody does yet, but we see Tiana trying to help Jacinda find a job in Hyperion Heights, and it's not really going well. I mean, they're finding menial jobs that nobody would want. So we see that Henry actually helped Jacinda get a catering job. So not only can she afford the ticket, but she could actually, she earns money, but she also gets to see Lucy's show from there. And what I found interesting is that when Weaver and Rogers were in Henry's apartment, I guess trying to find incriminating evidence against him, Rogers kind of stopped when he saw a doll, and, Weaver thinks, Henry had a daughter at one point, so of course he'd have a doll. But it kind of implied that Rogers at some point had a daughter. So I came thinking, Emma's not in this enchanted forest, this cursed enchanted forest, and why could she not be there? The promo photos for this week kind of implied what was going to happen. But Lucy was excited to see both her parents there. I mean, she definitely made her family proud. I mean, Lucy was a little cutie. I think I said Lucy, yeah. In her little ballet outfit. Jacinda looked on with pride, and even Henry, who doesn't really have a relationship with Lucy yet, seemed to enjoy her perform. And apparently in the Enchanted Forest, Regina and Henry are catching up because they've lost so many years. So Henry wants to know what's going on in Storybrooke. Apparently, Archie is a therapist. Business is down. But Archie as a wedding officiate is going up. With everyone getting their happy endings and all. Of course, they want to marry and find somebody. And of course, Regina's missed Henry. That was so sad. But now Old Hook is impersonating Hook, so I'm wondering what's going to happen. Henry isn't buying it. He clearly sees that Hook's not himself, and suddenly Emma appears and said that, I'm fine, Hook just wanted me to rest. I'm like, oh, okay, now I get what's going on. And Emma confirms it. She's pregnant. Yeah, I kind of saw that coming. I think we all saw that coming from the promo photos that everyone was speculating, so congratulations to Emma and Killian, but I couldn't help thinking, why in the world couldn't we have an Outlaw Queen baby? Not only were Robin and Regina true love, but they were soulmates. I mean, I get it that Regina drank that potion that made her infertile, but clearly something could have been done with them being soulmates and true love, each other's true love. It seems like, Regina can never have anything. She couldn't have a happy ending or anything, or a new beginning, because somebody would always take that away from her. So it's just like, why couldn't they have that? Why does Captain Swan always get to be happy and nothing happens to them? So, yeah, Victoria wants Weaver and Rogers to frame Henry by planting her bracelet in his pocket, and during the recital, Weaver interrupts, saying that somebody stole Victoria's bracelet and he's about to search everyone. And when Henry questions that, he punches him. And when he asks Henry to empty his pockets, we see that Rogers, because he wasn't going to plant the bracelet. He wanted Rogers to, so he can prove his trust and everything. So we see that when Henry empties his pockets, it's actually the swan key, not the bracelet. And Weaver was actually kind of impressed by that, because even though he failed what Weaver wanted him to do, he actually saw that Rogers had some more morals. So Weaver still wants Rogers to be his partner. we see that Hook apparently kills Old Hook, or tries to kill Old Hook, because, he's wondering, why were you trying to impersonate me? He thought that he was trying to steal his life, but we learned that Old Hook has a daughter somewhere, so that pretty much confirms that the Captain Swan baby is a girl. And from what Old Hook said, that this daughter's a witch, so she clearly inherited magic from Emma. And we don't know who the daughter is yet, and it didn't confirm it in the episode at all, but we definitely got a big clue when the older Hook gave Henry this chess piece, saying that the daughter's the Rook and Hook's the Knight. So it's heavily implying that Alice is Henry's sister, and that makes total sense, because in the pilot last week we saw Alice kidnap Henry, and it would definitely make sense because she's got that badassness of both Emma and Killian. But then I wonder, how many years went by from when Emma and Hook had the baby to when present time, where Lucy's like, what, 8 or 10? I mean, I know Henry was obviously an adult when Captain Swan baby was born, but they look like Alice and Henry are the same age, so that's I'm kind of wondering how old Henry's sister's gonna be. But we see that Emma actually saves Old Hook. So now there's Old Hook, now is the younger version of Hook, and now Hook's still Hook. So yeah, it was bizarre. Jacinda and Henry are at Ronnie's, and Jacinda thanks Henry for letting her being able to see Lucy. And you can see the chemistry. I got to give casting credit. Jacinda and Henry definitely have a lot of chemistry going on, so I'm sure at some point they'll end up together. Emma wants Henry to come home. I mean, he's about to have a new baby sibling, but Henry says he won't come back because he hasn't found his story yet. And I definitely think Henry's a bit hard on himself. I mean, he's definitely been part of all these stories, and he has been the hero. He is the author. He's been kind of behind the scenes role, but he has played a part in all these stories and has been the hero. But Emma does hold him to that promise. She says that, if you're not going to come home till you find your story, good, you're not allowed to come home till you do. So she says for Old Hook to stay with Henry, and our Killian goes back to Storybook with Emma. So now there's 2 Killians now. So now that also made me think, could this possibly be the dream realm? Because when we first saw Old Hook, he was in the dream realm. So I'm like, could Dream World Robin be coming back? Is the evil queen in this realm? But Henry wants Regina to stay with him in this new land, because Regina hasn't been able to find her happy ending yet. As we've seen 7 seasons later, she's still alone and hasn't gotten a chance to have a new beginning, and Henry thinks this might be a perfect chance, an opportunity for her to. Of course, Regina takes that chance because, she's lost that time with Henry, so now Henry can start new adventures with Regina, and I think that's what we've always wanted. We've always wanted, and we've always told the writers that we want those scenes of Regina and Henry. We see that Henry always favorited Emma over Regina, so they always got those scenes and moments together, so now Regina and Henry get to have those moments together. So I'm very excited to see what adventures they go on. And Regina was very cute about it. She said, can this be one of those operation missions that you and Emma went on? And he names it Operation Next Chapter, and I'm totally on board with that, Operation Next Chapter. So Rogers is with Henry at Ronnie's, and Henry wonders how he got the keychain, and he says that there's been this lost girl that he's been trying to find, and trying to find her has been consuming her. And I couldn't get what he said here. I don't know if he said she looks similar to the Emma picture he saw in the book or what, but he wants to find this girl, and he's always wanted to do the right thing and be the best person he could be because of this girl. So I'm thinking, is this Henry's sister we're going to find out he's looking for? But we see Rogers, Ronnie, and Henry apparently teaming up together, because Rogers, being a new detective and all, he can do investigative work on Victoria and try to expose her for who she is, and Henry being the author and all, he can use his skills down and record it and publish it when necessary. And Ronnie's going to help, of course, being the hero that she is, as we saw last week. So she's going to definitely play her part to try to help everyone and be the hero and try to expose Victoria. So they're all teaming up together. So that confirms that this is old Hook now in Hyperion Heights. And I keep thinking, what happened to Emma Swan and our Killian now? Why didn't... But that also confirms something else before I go any further, that the curse had to have happened in this new enchanted forest, because Ronnie, Henry, and Old Hook are in Hyperion Heights, and they were in the enchanted forest together. So, again, it's not confirmed, but it's just highly speculated that the curse had to have happened somehow in the enchanted forest. We still do not know who cast it yet, but it would definitely explain why Emma and all the other people in Storybrooke aren't there. But then it makes you wonder, how did Rumple get there then? Did he somehow come to the enchanted forest, or is this a Wish Realm Rumple? We're not sure yet. But yeah, I definitely think that for this being Emma Swan's last episode, I definitely think they kind of ruined it with the Old Hook. Adding the Old Hook in, I mean, again, I'm not an Emma Swan fan, but I definitely think she deserved more of it being her last episode. I mean, we didn't really get to see what happened to her. We only know that she's pregnant. We didn't see her and Killian's life as a married couple. We didn't get to see her life in Storybrooke, or why they're not in Hyperion Heights with everyone else, you know. So I definitely think they could have done more of that. But next week apparently shows parallels back to season 1. I believe it's episode 5, when Henry goes into the mines to prove that there's magic there, and Emma goes after them and Archie has to save them. Well, next week apparently Victoria wants to dig up that well that's in the abandoned park. So Lucy says there's something down there, and Lucy believes that there's magic down there. So Henry goes to rescue Lucy, and apparently something happens or another. So that definitely is a parallel to season 1. And I definitely think there's a lot of parallels. I definitely see how the parallel between Emma and Henry in season 1 and Henry and Lucy now. I mean, and with Jacinda now. But I feel like it's different because Victoria implied that Jacinda was an alcoholic. So, of course, she doesn't want her around Lucy for her own safety. Whereas in season 1, Emma was Henry's birth mother, but Regina didn't want Emma around her because she was a complete stranger. She didn't know anything about Emma. She was a stranger. She didn't want some stranger coming around her son or threatening her son. So, yeah, I definitely think besides the Old Hook add-on in here, I think they're doing a good job with season 7. I'm still getting used to it being on Friday nights instead of Sunday nights. So I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's episode. If you guys want to check out Once Upon a Time, it is on Fridays, 8 p.m. on ABC. Until next time, stay regal.